Welcome everybody to my second tutorial on the Revell Bronco. In this video, I'll be assembling the engine and undercarriage. We'll start by cutting off the parts from the sprues and getting them prepped for paint. We'll use the same technique as in the previous tutorial by getting rid of all the extra seam lines and molds from the factory with the X-Acto blade, sanding stick, and sanding foam. Just as before, the sanding grit I use is 600. I find it easiest to use the X-Acto blade to scrape most of the extra material off and use the sandpaper for a smooth finish. Before paint, we'll use extra thin cement from Tamiya. The special glue bonds the pieces together by chemically melting the plastic, forming the parts into one piece. This type of gluing is best used before paint, as the glue melts the paint if done afterwards. Only glue parts that are the same color. If glued parts are supposed to be multiple colors, masking and hand painting will be needed, which is time consuming and could have been prevented. Since I'll be painting these parts in acrylic, I'll be using a surface primer from Tamiya that is fast drying and easy to use. Only one coat application is needed for this primer. The same technique is used when spraying with other types of paint. It's best to spray a very light top coat for the paint to bond with the surface primer, followed by heavier layers. The light coat allows problems to be solved at the beginning of painting, whether the airbrush needs more cleaning or the color isn't mixed correctly. Acrylic paints also need to be thinned before using with an airbrush. The paint is too thick to use straight from the bottle. As before, I spray from the bottom, working my way upward to prevent runs from forming. Minor parts need hand painting for this section of the build. Take your time and have patience whenever painting by hand. The majority of the model is glued together with superglue. It's best applied with a toothpick because there's more control of the amount being applied to the parts being glued together. Superglue dries as two surfaces contact each other. Be sure not to get any on your hands or fingers to get them bonded to your model. Only a tiny amount is needed to bond the surfaces together. The remaining parts of this build is glued together by following the simple instructions provided by the kit. In the next video, we'll be working on the interior. Thanks for watching my part 2 of the Bronco build.